Max Verstappen eyes his third consecutive world championship. The sprint race format is back as we head to Qatar, aka the land of the rising sun.
Technically, that photo, the sun was setting, so it's not really.
Well, I'm just gonna keep saying it since I already fucked it up once. I'm just gonna.
I mean, technically,
it rises everywhere. So if I want to call it the land of the rising sun,
unless you're like Antarctica, where it just stays like daylight for where like all
the Alaskan
for
Grand Prix.
for 20 hours in the day or something.
Imagine a race in Antarctica.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. What were they talking about doing one? Or did I have like a dream? I might have had a dream about like a Hawaiian Grand Prix.
Hawaii?
Wouldn't that be gnarly?
I mean, where would they do it though?
I don't know.
They don't have a whole lot of.
They'd have to spend years building a track. But if they were to like want to invest in that, Kona could fit it. You'd be killing off a lot of wildlife.
Yeah, I mean the real estate there is pretty priceless as it is.
Could you imagine that though? Like just the aerial shots. It would put Zandvoort to shame.
Yeah, it would look pretty cool. I mean, there's a challenge for you sim track builders out there.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, build one in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this right before we started because I was going over what I was going to say at the top. I would like to get a count of how many times I've said Max Verstappen's name in the intro.
In the intro, I mean, you got to lead with what the people want to hear.
Well, I mean, the dude is just a highlight reel. He's a human highlight reel. He's constantly in the news, whether he's setting race records, going for a world championship, consecutive wins records, yada, yada. I was just thinking, like, how many times have I said, Max Verstappen this, Max Verstappen that, versus when's the last time you heard me say, I don't think I've ever said anything about either Alpine driver. I don't know if we've ever introed starting with Lance Stroll, other than maybe when he broke his wrists.
Yeah, beginning of the season. I mean, this is episode 37 now, so figure at least 3 times an episode. So
I'm not saying like just said his name. I'm talking about in the intro.
Oh, just in the intro.
Yeah, like the big headlines.
Yeah,
which there's one big headline I didn't touch on because I wanted to get into it in more depth. But
okay, well, why not now?
Well, let's talk about. Let's just jump right into Max Verstappen going for his third consecutive world championship. There are some, what's the right word? Permutations? Is that the way, right?
What are you trying to say?
Like the stipulations of what needs to happen in order for Max to win.
Yeah.
Like I think he has to win the sprint race. I think if he wins the sprint race, regardless, he might be able to outpoint Checo.
From what I understand, he has to score 3 more points than Checo this weekend. So I saw a lot of posts saying, oh, yeah, he can win it at the sprint. But technically, I think if Checo, like say Max DNFs in the race and then Checo ends up winning or scoring more points than him in the race, he would still technically have more points than him over the weekend. So he would. But at the end of the weekend, Max needs to get 3 points on Checo.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing. It's over. It's done. This shit was over in June, Yeah,
outside of any, wild events or catastrophic failures at Red Bull, the writing was on the wall as to how this was going to go down.
Barring a Max Verstappen fatality in the sprint race, he's going to win the championship this year. Could you imagine if that happens and I just we'd have to can this episode entirely. But he's going for his third. That puts him up there with the greats. He's going to be nipping right on Seb's heels. It puts him up there past Alonso, past Hakkinen. He passes up. Or does he tie or pass up Senna? Is Senna 2 or 3?
It's a good question. I want to say it's just 2, but
and then it puts him up there with Alan Prost.
Yeah,
and I think Fangio is 4, right? He's 3 or 4.
I'm not sure.
I forget. Either way, he's one of the greats. He's on the Mount Rushmore after this weekend. What do you think? Do you think it happens?
Sure.
Sure?
Yeah. Yes.
So you think it happens? You think it's like set in stone? It's gonna happen.
outside of, like I said, him DNFing in the race,
Sure.
it's guaranteed, I think.
Which we have been talking about. It's got to happen soon. Either that, or they're gonna do that engine replacement. Which I think they're gonna wait for the United States or Mexico to do so.
Yeah, probably wait till after it's already clinched to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
just run that engine to the ground and then let Max kind of take it easy. For the rest
if
of
it's
the
not
season.
this weekend, it'll be the next.
Yeah.
So,
they won the world championship last year at COTA in the United States. That's where the team won the world championship. So they won it. They won it 2 weeks early this year, which was no surprise with the streak that they were on. I was there. I watched the bottle. Pop. It was nice. Mm-hmm. What other news do you have?
So we've been following the potentiality of a new team joining the grid.
That was my other big one that I want to talk about.
Yeah. So I don't know when that was, maybe a month or two ago, we had heard that FIA was like officially going through the paperwork for a bunch of, apparently there was 4 candidates that put in a bid to join Andretti, being one of the main ones with their GM Cadillac backing. Another one was High Tech, which is a racing team that currently has like a F2 team.
They're an F3 and F2, right?
Yeah. So, or you have some connections there, and then a couple other teams. I'm blanking at the moment, but apparently FIA has accepted Andretti as being a potential team. Now it goes on to
the teams,
to the F1 organization, F1, Liberty Media, in order to actually decide whether or not they want to do it. And very controversially, the teams and the F1 organization have been very adamant that they do not want to have any additions because it will force them to have to split the share of earnings and stuff. So
there's no benefit to the teams in having an 11th team join. Because the way it works is that even though FIA has approved that the addition of a team, they go, yeah, you're good. You have the funds. You have the mechanical prowess, whatever. You have the stability to
compete in this championship.
To have a working team.
Yes.
That's what the FIA does. They go, all right, yeah, you look good. And now it goes to Formula One, which is its own entity owned by Liberty Media, and then technically it's franchisees, which are each team. That's kind of how they operate. And then do you need a thumbs up from all 10 teams, or is it a majority vote?
See, I don't know exactly how that will go down, but as of right now, it seems like none of the teams really want to budge. So it's kind of in a weird situation right now, right? Where the FIA, being a separate entity, fielded all these entries, did a lot of work to make sure that the candidates that they do pick are going to be worthwhile, and then now they're just kind of throwing it into the lap of F1, saying, okay, now you do it, or now you approve them, now you get this across the line, even though FIA knowingly, or FIA knows that other organization doesn't want to take on the other team. So to me, it's very interesting that this is all playing out in public and that they're not actually working together behind the scenes and figuring out how to make this happen. I think just the FIA relationship with F1, I think, is obviously very, we've been seeing it right on the wall for
problematic.
It's not in a good spot, that's for sure. I mean, there's already issues with drivers and teams not being happy with certain rulings on penalties and stuff like this. So seeing this sort of play out the way it has, where both organizations are very obviously on this different pages of what they want to happen in the future, I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out. That's
weird because they couldn't split from each other. Like Formula One couldn't become an independent operation. They have to go under a governing body, no?
Well, I mean, some people in the paddock believe that they could.
Really?
I mean, so...
You imagine an FIA-less Formula One?
Yeah, I mean... we've seen these kinds of things happen in other series where they have falling out with their sanctioning body, and they ended up just doing their own thing or going with a different like sanctioning body.
Wow, that would be insane. How long have the FIA and Formula One been working together? Did you look into that at all?
So I don't know exactly, but I know that like this standing deal that they have has been around for a while, because that's one of the like pain points with the teams, right? Where they feel that like earlier on when Formula One didn't have the same money coming in, didn't have the same amount of popularity, that they took on a risk or an investment, in supporting these teams and investing a lot of money into the organization and the whole sport at a time when they weren't really raking in the money. So now, especially under cost cap, teams are limited on what they can actually spend, so that, raises the potential amount of money that they're actually going to be earning. So I'm sure there's a solution that like makes it work for everybody. One of the proposed things was Andretti paying a upfront fee to kind of alleviate that 10% of loss and earnings, right? So,
but that would only cover a year. That would be a bad business deal for them if they had to pay it every single year.
Well, it would be like a thing of like, oh, well, they pay $800 million or whatever it is, and it would cover for 5 years.
Oh.
And then at that point they could maybe have earned their
Christ,
spot or
dude.
something like that. So
that is such a hefty price, though.
So
I mean, I know Andretti's a big name in motorsport with their IndyCar team. What other series do they run in? Are they in NASCAR?
I don't know. I know they do.
They have a MotoGP team?
No, but they probably do like some world endurance stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
God damn, dude.
It's for the teams right now, or at least
I'm sure GM would be paying a big portion of that as well,
well, that's the thing. It's like, well, in order for Andretti to get to this point, they had to prove that they have the financial backing in case that was going to be the situation, right? Like, it's still not still not outside of reason that they could potentially still buy another team that's currently in.
That's where I think their in is at. I don't see Andretti getting in as an 11 team. I just don't see this happening. I don't see all 10 teams coming together and allowing it. I think a 22 driver grid is a little much also. So I don't see it happening. I see them having to take over ownership of another team, and it's probably going to be Haas
or Williams. I mean, the Doralton things.
Williams is so historic though, and with the fact that they're looking better, I don't think that name goes away. I know they're not owned by the family, but it's still going to be Williams Racing for the foreseeable future. The only one I can really see it happening to is Haas, because they're already American. It would be an easy transfer from one, motorsport privateer to another.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's the only way I see it going down. I've been saying it for a while. I think they should do Andretti Haas. Why not? Like just do it.
Why don't they do Coke Pepsi?
I get it. I mean, they're two competing names in motorsport.
Yeah.
So, but because you can do a conjuncture in F1, that might be the best way. And Haas is always struggling for money. Andretti does not have an open door. Just fucking cut your losses and make Wild Cherry Pepsi Coke, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the most the easiest solution to make everybody happy. But at the same time, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to. I mean, I understand why the teams don't want to add an extra team, but if it can actually help, grow the sport as a whole, I don't see why it's that bad of a decision. Yeah. But it's like one of those things where it's like they know that it's good for the sport as a whole, but out of their own self-interest, they will just vote against it because in the short term, it's better for them.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a what have you done for me lately business. You're talking about buku buck money, and people aren't going to be fucking around and just selling off their potential earnings by going, oh, why don't we let these guys play too? I, for one, would love to see, I shouldn't have even said a 22-car grid that I don't want to see it or whatever. I would love to see Andretti in F1 because I think they would be a much truer American team than Haas is. They've said that their location, their home base, would be in the United States. So they'd be the only team outside of Europe.
Yeah. I mean,
which is great.
You know, if the sport's growing like it is too at the same time, it's like if the teams are worried about how much money they're going to be splitting, it's, I don't know, give them more money. I don't know.
Yeah,
throw more money in the pot.
Make the prize pool bigger.
Yeah.
If you can bring in more eyes, which they're going to do.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it's like the FIA is the group that's saying this will be good for the sport to grow and expand and to add another team. Whereas like the actual commercial rights holders are saying no.
Yeah.
We don't know.
They're protecting their money and they're protecting their franchises basically.
I don't know.
And they're all probably talking to each other, and it's just a lot of heads shaking no. So they're just going to stand by it. But I do agree with the FIA that this is a good move.
Yeah, because they could find that money. You know, like with Apple TV sniffing around, they want the streaming rights and stuff. But, you know, the guy, it's, I don't know.
That's huge with a new movie coming out. Like, you're going to tap into markets. Your revenue is going to be completely bolstered. You can up the prize money for the Constructors' Championship or Constructors' Points at the end of the year. Yeah. Every other sport does basically that. They up the salary cap. They up the salary cap so that it gives you more.
Yeah, they pay off the salary cop.
They pay, they grease the cops a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it happening, which sucks. I don't think Andretti is going to get their way in, and I would love to see him, but I'm not gonna follow IndyCar that closely.
Yeah. Did you see Aston Martin's going to be joining the World Endurance Championship?
Nope.
Do you remember the car that Max was driving when he got in trouble in Monaco? Mm-hmm. The Adrian Newey designed Valkyrie, Aston Martin, whatever. That they're going to be entering that Valkyrie car into the World Endurance Championship for next year.
Are they going to modify it?
No, it's a hypercar.
What was he doing on the street with it?
What do you mean?
Max was driving. I didn't know that was an actual
Well, I think
like an actual race car. I thought it was just a crazy.
Well, with like these hypercars, I think they, I'm sure what Max was driving was like a prototype version. That's
but I mean they're gonna do like a racing version of that. They're gonna have to change certain things. It can't just be an out of the box.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works exactly with the World Endurance stuff, but they know they have different classes of cars, so
that's cool.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Aston Martin
is
expanding a little bit.
Season's not started yet.
Be for 2025.
Oh, so their entry is in 2 years. Gotcha.
Yeah, from 2025. Yeah.
Cool. That's dope. Getting their name out there more.
Yeah. So, can we expect to see a current Aston Martin driver in?
Well, which one are you talking about? Because I could see both of them going over there.
I mean, there's 3, I think, that are potential.
I would say all 3 Aston Martin drivers I could see going over there. Well, Fernando's already won the 24 Hours of Le Mans, right?
I don't know if he won, did he?
I think he did. I think he's got 2 of the Triple Crown. Because he's won at Monaco. I think he's won the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And that's why he went and tried the Indy 500 1 or 2 years in a row. So I don't know if he would do it. And because I think once he's done with Formula One, he's done racing. He's going to be well into his 40s by the time he's done here with Aston Martin.
Fernando's won 24 Hours of Le Mans twice.
Oh, there you go.
In 2018 and 2019.
So there you go. Nice.
And then he won the World Endurance Championship in 2018, 2019.
That was after his time with Renault, right? And then he came back to McLaren.
Yeah.
So I could potentially see him depending on what happens with his Aston Martin F1 contract, I could see him maybe going over there and doing a little bit, but I think he does retire. If Felipe Drugovich doesn't get himself a seat here pretty soon, I could definitely see him. That's a perfect circuit.
If he doesn't get snatched
driving
by another team,
Yeah. I think that's a good circuit for him to go to, though. Or a good series, I mean. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Daddy's Boy is going to be the one to do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just not confident.
That's what some people I was seeing say online that, here's an out for Lance. Here's an out. And I think he'd rather go play tennis than do this. But
I do think he's looking for an out, though. So potentially that could be it. Be like, I wanted to try my hand at something new. But I feel like they would have known that was going to happen before he made his tennis announcement.
Yeah.
They knew that they were going to be joining the WEC before Lance was like, you know what? I might want to take on Roger Federer.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when Lance is done with F1, he's going to be on to a different kind of sport.
Yeah. He also really likes surfing. So maybe he'll do that a little bit more too.
There's that too.
Not a whole lot of news outside of that, right?
Yeah. Just kind of gearing up for this last stint of the season. We got 6 races left.
Our last one this is the last race before they come to the Americas. So we have, other than the very last race of the season, we have all good timing races for us here. Qatar is going to be 10 a.m. I think Coda's at like noon or 3. Yeah. Mexico's between noon and 3. Maybe it's at like 1. And then we have Vegas, which is a 10 p.m.er for us. Brazil. Oh, I can't wait for Brazil. I think that's my favorite race of the year.
It's a pretty good one.
Interlagos is just fucking so good. I've been thinking about it these past few weeks. Looking forward to it so much because I think it's going to be a nice shake-up too. Max will have clinched by then. Other teams are going to just be looking for their first win, potentially, of the year. Maybe a Mercedes win. Maybe McLaren. Maybe we'll get a first driver win.
Maybe George back-to-back.
Oh, God, no. God, no. Can't have that.
So apparently Lewis has a 100% win advantage or win percentage in Qatar. Is that right?
Like he's won it. Well, they've only raced. This is only the second time that they've.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
You think he can
so he's the only one. He's got to keep
going?
that streak alive. I'm interested. I was just looking at something. I think Mercedes is bringing more upgrades.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it for?
It says they're bringing. Mercedes reveals plans to bring upgrades to the W14 as they bid to add performance and begin the 2024 development.
See, that was my question. Is it going to be for like next year's model car, like more in that direction, or are they just trying to continue to make? It says
they're looking to add performance. Yeah. They might be going for their first win of the season.
I mean, we'll see.
They've looked good.
Yeah.
It's as far as wins go, outside of Max Verstappen, I think it's a 3-dog race for all 3 teams.
Did you see Lewis's tweet he had to delete?
No.
Did you see he posted his helmet for this weekend? It's like the purple helmet.
I don't know why. I haven't seen any F1 news really.
So he posted like this sick
sick what?
You got a new helmet design for this weekend. You could look it up.
I'll look it up on my phone.
Looks cool.
Your searching is terrible.
It's Twitter search is terrible. But so people really loved it, thought it was a great design, and then Lewis tweeted, "I'm so glad that everybody loves my purple helmet." And then he had to delete it.
Because didn't expect so much purple helmet love.
Yeah. And then everybody was like, "Wait a second,
shit, we were is that it?"
No, that's
old.
It's just like purple, but
that's not the official.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny.
That is very funny. I mean, we said it on a live stream. You can see Lewis's purple helmet on the internet if you want. Hey. You didn't hear that from us.
Do you have any predictions for this
Of
weekend?
course, I have predictions for this weekend. Do you have yours ready to go?
No, I'm just going to wing it.
You're gonna wing it. I was doing it on the drive over here. I was thinking about it because I've been so ill prepared these past few weeks with everything. So I made sure to have them. But I was like, because there's so little news and there's not really much shakeup. It's not a bold prediction to be like Max Verstappen wins the world championship this weekend.
No, it's not very bold.
It's not bold at all. But I do think that is going to happen this weekend. But I couldn't really think of anything new. Like there's no.
Yeah, it's tough. We're going on to round 7. Is this 17 or 18? Technically,
I don't even know.
So
I forget.
there's been a lot of scenarios already kind of played out or have not.
Yeah.
Out, so
my first one is it's going to be a 3-team podium. I think the McLarens look good. I think the Ferraris are right there. So I'm going to say it's going to be Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc. And that is in the Grand Prix race. Sunday's race.
Okay. That was just your first one?
That's one and number one, yeah.
Okay. So my first one, I'm going to say we got Lando Norris currently sitting 7th in the driver's standings with 115 points. Charles Leclerc is ahead of him in 135.
Wait, how many points does Lando have?
So you got a 20-point gap.
Ooh.
I was going to say maybe he can.
Ooh, are you going to say that Lando passes Chuck?
I bet it's too far of a gap, I think. With the sprint, maybe he can get some extra points.
If he gets a good chunk in the sprint and then has a really great Sunday, and Chuck doesn't have a good Sunday, but then that fucks up my prediction.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. Because he just jumped Russell last weekend. Technically, as the
Let's go, Lando.
Technically, he's tied with George, but
Lando's that fucking boy.
I'll just say I'm going to say Lando back on the podium.
Okay. So that's an I win, you win situation. Because I'm going to go even bolder, and I'm going to say that's how it's going to run out. It's not going to just be 3-team podium. I'm doing a full predict a podium. That should be a new segment. Predict a podium, and then you get 5 points.
Per what?
I don't know. Per race.
Oh, if you just
just in general,
if you get all three
in the
you
prediction,
get 5 points.
yeah. For your bold prediction things, yeah, just it would add 5 points to it. My second prediction is going to be Checo podium in the sprint. Probably going to be a third, but I won't commit to that.
All right, I will say.
Think people like listening to my ice?
It's the ASMR section of this pod.
Thank you for listening to Into the Chicane.
I almost kind of want to play off of what you just did. You said Checo podium in the sprint. I would say Checo does. See, we'll have to figure out how to classify this, but he does significantly worse in the race than he does in the sprint. I think podium finish in the sprint, and then he's
that's what I'm thinking too.
Outside the top 10.
Yeah, I think he's gonna send it up the inside. He's gonna take damage or something. Has he had a power unit replacement yet?
I don't think so.
Or a gearbox? And who knows? Could be an engine failure. I'm not feeling good for him this weekend. I was gonna say that Checo podiums. I was gonna say that he gets second, maybe third. I don't know. I was gonna say he gets on the podium because he's due for such a rebound. But man, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think both Ferraris and both McLarens look better than him. But I think he can hold it down for the 15 or 16 laps of the sprint.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, as much as I would hate to say it, I think it's going to be a 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing through the rest of the season.
I could see that.
Where he's just not quite, there'll be moments of really great driving or a good finish, but then there'll be those little mistakes that will just kind of foil the rest of his season, so.
I don't know what it is, but it's that ominous feeling, and I guess we agree on it. We both feel it. I think everybody kind of the sense, there's a sense in the air that things just aren't going Checo's way, and goddamn does it suck. I think I'm still going to buy that Checo hoodie that I've been looking at. What's your number? Oh, that was your number 2.
Yeah.
My number 3 is, I'm going to go bold on this one. This is going to be a little bit of a wild card. Lando Norris wins the sprint.
That would be pretty cool, honestly.
I could see that one happening. If they can do a McLaren sandwich for 16 laps, they might just be able to hold Max off.
Yeah.
That back straightaway is really going to be tough.
Yeah. But if Max has any hiccups or if he gets, any setbacks, it's prime.
It's
ready.
pouncing time.
Yeah.
I think overtakes are aplenty at Qatar, if I recall, or I could be completely wrong. I was looking at the track layout the other day, and it's a lot of right turns. Have you looked at that track?
No. I mean,
it's a shit ton of just like rights, and then one big left, and then right. One big. It looks like a hand.
Maybe we'll pull it up on the Xbox after this.
There we go. Maybe.
Number 3. I feel like Lewis is going to have a big weekend. I want to say
a big purple weekend.
Big purple weekend. He's going to be the grimace of the weekend. No, I think he's going to...
Imagine if Lewis just put a big fucking dick on the side of his helmet.
It would be like a subtle, like hidden image thing.
Yeah. Like, how they've been doing those, like you have to squint to see.
Oh, yeah.
Like that Latifi one, the big naked guy one. I don't know how else to put that. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I think Lewis is going to be that third driver on the podium. Not necessarily in third place, but he will be the other.
When I put together my 3-team podium, I didn't even have Mercedes like in the running for it. They weren't even a thought, but they have been running really hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good late race charging.
Yeah. Singapore, they were looking really great.
So, yeah. Anything else?
What do you think? This is random. Just popped into my head, though. What do you think Pierre Gasly is going to do this week? You think he's going to have like a big retaliatory weekend? Or is he just going to come into it head down? I think
he's going to punt Esteban off turn 1. Yeah.
He's going to just floor it.
Yeah.
He's going to be the one pushing Esteban off the scale in the end. I think that relationship might be souring there. And I'm not talking about between the two guys. I'm talking about Pierre and the team. I think he expected to step into that role and be the guy because he's French, but they're like, we already have our French guy. And he's like solid.
Well, I don't even think it had anything to do with nationality. I think it came from Pierre. He's had, some couple rough years, but overall he's shown to be a pretty solid driver. He's had some great finishes. I think.
I mean, it was a nationality thing when they signed him. It was
but
they had 2 Frenchmen driving for the French national team.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily has anything to do with.
I'm saying his mentality going into it was he was like, "Look, I'm here at Alpine. I'm the French guy," and then Esteban's like, "No, I'm the French guy at the French team."
That's why I don't think it was Pierre saying I'm the French guy. I think he's saying here's me. I'm coming off of my my little Red Bull stint. I've been around.
I'm a race winner.
Yeah, race winner. I've been around some winning teams.
Yeah.
And they had their beef before, and it was apparently squashed. Squashed. So
it's not.
Well, maybe it's just research. These guys are competitive. Like you're freaking racing cars. Like you're naturally going to be competitive against.
Yeah.
You're especially the guy who's your closest competitor. So it is what. But at the same time, it's on the team to be able to manage that and make sure that doesn't boil over into situations happening on track. So
yeah, for sure.
And the fact that there's no team principal there right now, and with the communication issues in the last race and all that stuff, I'm not.
The inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's running the asylum over there. So,
well, Otmar certainly wasn't running.
I mean, he tried to, I think, but
I just mean physically.
Anyways,
yeah, it just popped into my head. I guess that's it, huh?
Pretty much.
Alrighty, This has been the Into the Chicane pre-Qatar Grand Prix edition. We will see you guys the land of the rising sun, Qatar. Peace.
Peace.